Welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano, and on today's program we will get an update from Mike Shanahan at Maria Dross Counseling Services here in Quincy. But first, we do check out the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, beautiful, brilliant sunshine. It's 56 degrees right now. The clouds will be increasing throughout the day today, and temperatures will actually start to fall off later on this afternoon. Chilly tonight, lows drop off into the mid-30s. We're right back into December weather. Tomorrow there'll be some mixed precipitation around, coating to an inch of accumulation of snow by tomorrow night. Temperatures only in the upper 30s, little unsettled Sunday morning, and then cloudy later in the day. High Sunday in the upper 30s. Look at Sunday night. Temperatures will dip to around 20 degrees. It'll be sunny and cold on Monday with the high only in the low 30s. But again, sunshine, 56 in Quincy right now. In the news today, City of Quincy is receiving 3 separate state grants totaling almost $2.5 million to help out with the redevelopment of Quincy Center and also to help out minority-owned businesses. Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito announced those grants during a press conference at Quincy City Hall yesterday.
It includes road realignment, pedestrian accommodations, landscape traffic island, and a new 4-way signalized intersection. Wow, that's big stuff. And it also is on top of, and thanks to the taxpayers of this city, a $35 million investment in utility extensions and transportation infrastructure in this particular area of your downtown. So your investment, state investment, attracts all this private investment, and you're going to see really great things continue to happen here. Not only did you receive 1 grant in the one-stop application, you received 2 more. So congratulations on a $75,000 community planning award to conduct a review of your current inclusionary zoning ordinance, and a $100,000 urban agenda grant to convene a minority business roundtable in partnership with the Boston Chinatown Neighborhood Center and the Quincy Chamber of Commerce. That's terrific. So congratulations on your 3 grants. Congratulations on the collaboration that you know is a key part of your success. And it's an honor, once again, to be here to share state resources. We know investing in the city of Quincy, you will get the job done. And then finally, I will just say it's been an honor, and we have another year ahead. And thanks to the leadership of the Speaker and the legislators here and others, the ARPA funds have been approved, and it is now up to the governor and our team to get those dollars out into your hands and communities all across this Commonwealth. We're not only going to recover, we're going to rebound, and we are going to have the best economy, not only in gateway cities, but in suburban communities and rural communities all across this Commonwealth. You'll see downtowns reimagined, the vision that communities have had become real, and there'll be more places for people to afford to live and businesses to be able to grow and expand. So we got a lot of work to do in 12 months. And you have our pledge and our promise that we will work with you very closely and finish strong over the course of this next year.
$2.3 million of that grant will go to help pay for the new General McConville Way and to relocate a traffic signal on the Hannon Parkway to improve traffic flow. $100,000 will be used to help minority-owned businesses access digital marketing expertise, and $75,000 will help the city review its inclusionary zoning ordinance. Quincy City Council this week did set the new property tax rates for next year. And although the actual rates are going down, the average residential property tax bill will rise by $229. That increase is the result of a 5% increase in property values, where the average single-family home in Quincy is now valued at just over $543,000. Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch said the tax increase would have been higher if the city had not agreed to pay off its pension obligations with a $475 million bond that was approved earlier this year.
The bond we were trying to stretch out a little bit further. The state basically told us we could only bond to the extent of what the schedule shows on systems being fully funded, which is 2040. Now, technically, my guess is that'll be extended at some point again, the schedule, because that happens every 10 years.
Yeah.
Move it out a few more years. But having said that, we had to meet that. So in that time frame of the 18, 19 years that we're bonding this, the city will, it's an estimate, but a pretty good estimate, that we will save about $150 million of what we would have been paying for the retirement system. In other words, as we talked about, the bill for the retirement system was going up every year. The retirement board sends me a bill, and I have to pay it. And, you know, if you look at the schedule going over the next 10, 15, 20 years, that bill was going up dramatically every year. So, you know, in 3 years out, our bill will go up, then it's going to stay the same for the next 17, 18 years. So that gives us continuity and stability in the budget.
Okay.
So it's a savings of about $150 million. It all works because of the historic low interest rates. That's the only reason it works.
So the average annual residential property tax bill in Quincy next year will be just over $6,500. Quincy City Council has approved a new ordinance. It would require developers to place a sign on new buildings letting firefighters know if the building was put up using a truss-type system. Ward 4 City Councilor Brian Palmucci developed the ordinance at the request of firefighters who told him they need that information in order to fight a fire at one of those buildings safely.
I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, I can't see how anyone would be opposed to putting a placard on the outside of a building letting firefighters know what the material of the building is made of. Even if it's available in some sort of database that they have access to, it can't hurt, right? I mean, it can't hurt. And I can't imagine a developer is going to sue the city and say, no, I refuse to put that placard up. You know, I refuse to have an emblem on the front of my building. So I would encourage my counselors to listen to the folks that show up when we call 911 and run into these burning buildings. We take their comments to heart and weigh them above all else. When they ask us to do something that helps protect their safety, that we do it.
Quincy Fire Chief Joe Jackson and Tom Bowes, president of the Firefighters Union, also spoke in favor of that new ordinance. Quincy Building Inspector Jay Duca and Solicitor Jim Timmons said the new ordinance may be subject to approval from the state building commissioners. The measure would apply to new developments going forward. This week's City Council meeting was the last for Councilor-at-Large Nina Liang as City Council President. Liang extended her thanks to everyone who persevered through the pandemic to make sure that city government functioned.
I just want to say a big thank you also to Kathy and Ann. They did not skip a beat in the council office in making sure that we got all of our, notices that we needed to get, all of the phone calls, messages, whatever it was that we needed to get out to the public. Kathy and Ann in the council office, just want to give a quick shout out to you listening at home. And of course, Nicole Crispo, Jen Manning, and Susan O'Connor. I don't know what I would do without the three of you, frankly, even outside of the council presidency. But these last 2 years, frankly, again, just not just making sure that things were running and that, we were getting things done and that things were being communicated, but just for your guidance, very frankly, and for your advice as we've gone through this. Again, it's uncharted territory. I trust the three of you explicitly when it comes to the work that we do to make sure that we're doing our jobs appropriately. So I just want to thank all three of you for the frantic texts, phone calls, emails, and just, running things by you and for your guidance along the way. And last, but of course, not least, to every single one of my colleagues, all of you know me very well, right? I'm all about collaborative efforts, which means also that I'm constantly bugging you for your guidance and leadership as well. And frankly, these last 2 years, I don't think any of us came into it thinking that it would last the full 2 years. But again, just want to thank all of you. The work that I've been able to do as council president, frankly, wouldn't have been possible without the grace that all of you have shown me in trying to figure this out along the way. So I want to thank all of you for that.
Liang was reelected to another 2-year term on the City Council earlier this year. A new council president will be voted on in January. Well, there are 16 new corrections officers on staff in the Norfolk County Sheriff's Department after a recent graduation ceremony. Sheriff Pat McDermott says the new class of graduates received their certificates during a ceremony at Gillette Stadium. 4 officers were also promoted to the rank of captain, and 7 were promoted to lieutenants. During the ceremony, the Norfolk County Heroes Awards were also presented to John King of Quincy and Eric Hentz from Cohasset. Hentz gifted the sheriff's office with 4 sensory kits that help first responders properly serve people with autism. Quincy Police Department recently donated $15,000 to help cancer patients and their families. Those funds were raised through the police department's annual Pink Patch campaign that sells pink patches, t-shirts, and other items to raise funds for Marissa's Mission. That organization was founded in memory of Marissa Federico, who died of breast cancer in 2016 at the age of 38. The organization assists cancer patients and their families with costs that include hospital parking, gas, travel and lodging, prescriptions, caregiving, and much more. That's a check of news. Coming up, we will sit down with Mike Shanahan of Maria Drost Counseling Services. Next. Welcome back. So happy to welcome back to the program Mike Shanahan, Executive Director, Maria Drost Counseling here in Quincy, in person and in studio. Mike, good to see you.
Thank you, Joe. Good to be here again.
Great to have you. Really appreciate the opportunity to get an update. So much has been talked about over the past year and a half about how the pandemic has impacted our mental health. And you have literally been on the front lines of that from the beginning. Yeah. How is it going now?
Well, you know, I think it's brought mental health issues to the fore, and people are coming out of the woodwork with mental health concerns, mm-hmm. you know, certainly exacerbated by the pandemic, but I see them as having always been there. And, you know, now it's people our phones are ringing like never before, you know, and not just us, all mental health centers. Everybody has long waiting lists, and you know, so it's hard because we want to get people in quickly, and so many mental health centers can't. So there's a big need for more counselors, you know, more people going into the field to meet the needs, certainly. But the little maybe silver lining is that I feel people are becoming less afraid to say, you know, I'm not doing well and I need help. And that's a positive thing that I see.
Okay. Could this have kind of amplified issues that they may have been having prior to the pandemic, and then this really kind of brought it to the fore and said, whoa, what's going on here?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's, you know, things we're able to manage when things are normal, and then suddenly there's issues that come up.
Yeah.
We saw that back in 2008 with the, you know, downturn in the economy and, the housing market crash. All of a sudden I was doing a lot of marital therapy with couples who suddenly had financial problems,
yes.
and, you know, their lives were falling apart, and they were otherwise relatively healthy, but just brought out stressors and things. And now with the pandemic, it's the same thing. There's definitely pandemic-related loss. People have lost. We lost a board member, Steve DeRoche, to death from COVID, and we're still grieving that loss. His daughter has stepped in on the board now, which is wonderful. So there are COVID-related grief and loss happening, and you know the numbers are up again with the Omicron variant. So that makes it hard too. But the mental health issues are there. It's part of our human condition. And, you know, as a therapist, we get underneath kind of the hood of people's ego selves, and we're dealing with things at that deeper level. And so you see the human struggle in all of us, you know, and I always say to be a compassion-based organization like Maria Drost is, you know, we've got to be living compassion ourselves. And that's hard to do because then you're facing things in yourself where, hey, I want to be a nice guy, but sometimes I see that I'm not, you know, and in my own family and with my staff. So it's the kind of work that I try to do personally, and we all try to do, that makes us better people. But it also puts us in touch with the fact that we know people struggle, and it's called the human condition. And as I tell my clients, that's the good news. It's not like there's something wrong with you because you have depression or anxiety or bipolar. It's like, no, that's the human condition. We're all in that same boat. Let's be honest about it. And, you know, you're courageous for coming to a mental health center, for saying, I can't manage my own life in this regard and I need help. To me, that's a positive thing. And I think for the clients that are able to get treatment and have the courage to step up and talk to somebody, they find that inner resource that they need that's within them, and they start feeling better and getting relief. So it's a beautiful process, and I feel privileged to be in this field.
It's interesting.
Even now.
Yeah, interesting you use the word privilege, because I was speaking with Cynthia Sierra from Manet Community Health Center. She used that same word, privileged, to be able to treat people in a different way, physically, with vaccinations, with testing, with medical treatments, but she used that same word. And it's interesting that caregivers, physical and mental, feel that way. Because the people are trusting you with their physical and mental health.
That's right. I always say that, nurses, counselors, teachers, we're kind of the same ilk, people that are reaching out, and it's not like others can, so it includes everybody, but, it's like when I'm in a room full of therapists or, nurses or teachers, you have a certain sense about them that, they're people that see things in a little deeper way, and and so we do feel like it's a privilege.
Yeah,
and, it's a great thing to be doing.
Do you think for some folks the pandemic-induced issues will go away when the pandemic goes away?
I think we're in such a period of change right now, even beyond the pandemic, with things happening politically, and this. Everything going on is a worldwide phenomenon, from the pandemic to even the way politics are now. It's not just in the United States.
Economic issues, certainly. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And so I think we're kind of in an identity crisis. It's like when things happen, when we're learning new things, we all go, who am I in this? And we've certainly done that with the pandemic. I think that's here to stay, and that's why there's so much anxiety right now. People just feel like, everything's weird, nothing's right, and the anxiety levels are up, depression's up. But the good news is that we have the inner resources, and so one of my main messages to a lot of my clients is to trust yourself, to go within. That's where you're going to find the peace, by trusting I've got resources where I can take a deep breath, I can do certain things that are going to help me negotiate this, and I can find just a little more peace and wherewithal myself, and then that's what I'm broadcasting out to others. And I think as that spreads, we're going to see relief coming in that way. So I'm hopeful of us getting through this, but I think the feeling of like, whoa, everything's different and changing, I don't think that's going away. Like if this summer, hey, the pandemic's over and we're finally through it, I don't think we go back to the way it was.
Okay, it's going to be different.
Just me.
Yeah, it's going to be different regardless. What are some good kind of coping strategies that you give to your clients if they're having a panic attack or stress or anxieties, just kind of general things to kind of calm down?
That's right. It's always anxiety. To me, the number one thing is breathing, and we will model this for our clients. I do breathing exercises and relaxation exercises right in session. And whenever I go, okay, take a deep breath, and then I go, that always feels good to me. I'm like, oh, that felt good to do that.
Yeah.
So it's just a practice that if you realize and trust yourself that you've got the resources, the inner resources, when you're facing some anxiety or some uncertain situation, you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, I feel overwhelmed. Stop, give yourself a timeout, take a deep breath, have a glass of water, like hydrate yourself. Get exercise, and these are the things that can help you start to believe that you've got some inner wherewithal to overcome that anxiety. And so the clients that practice this, even with anxiety disorders, find it's a great help. And I'm not at all putting down medication,
of course,
because when you need that, you need it just to get you, stable enough to be going to your job and functioning. But to do this on your own, it can greatly reduce anxiety, especially help with something like a panic attack. It's always going back to the breath.
It's part of the holistic process at Maria Drosk, isn't it? You're looking at the whole person and their whole experience, not just one singular issue or one singular incident.
That's right. It's always connected. You know, I was talking to a client yesterday who I haven't seen in a while. People are calling back, you know, that maybe we haven't seen in a while. Say, hey, can I come in for one session? And one of them said, you know, you told my wife that it'd be good if she got back to work. And this was like 3 years ago. And he said, that's been the best thing for her, that simple suggestion. I was like, thanks. You know, it's like, it's nice to know that some things you suggest, and then you don't think about it. You know, we just all move on. But, you know, occasionally you get that kind of feedback that was a really concrete but helpful intervention. So
that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
It brings up an interesting point. What are some kind of, you know, warning signs that spouses or parents should look for in their loved ones to suggest that they may be having some issues?
Anytime, especially with kids, that there's behavioral changes.
Okay.
You know, with kids, one of the biggest things is changes in patterns of sleep, what they're eating, and especially grades. You know, I've heard countless times like, oh, he or she was an A student and suddenly they're failing this class, or they're having behavioral problems and they never did. That's a red flag for something's going on. We've got to deal with it. With spouses and adults, it's how we exchange with each other, you know, and how do we deal with our own stresses. You know, marriage is stressful because you're living with somebody else and incorporating their ways into yours, and you know, and I always say it ebbs and flows like a sine curve. We gotta have good times and we're struggling with this, and when couples can navigate that, that's great. But when suddenly the stressors become more severe, or somebody's like not talking, and you know, and somebody, you know, your partner feels like, well, that's an odd behavior, or you know, he's been so closed off lately. Yeah. That would be a, you know, maybe not a red flag, but certainly something to pay attention to.
Okay.
And, make some changes.
Have a thoughtful conversation with them to get through that and see if there's something else that has to happen to get them feeling better, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's
and
always
that's the hardest
to address
part.
it. Yeah.
Right, is talking about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So many of us don't, and we feel hurt, and you know, and you take it all in like, oh, you know, but if you can reach out and, you know, again, believe in your own power to heal and make changes, you know, it's a nice approach, and that's what a lot of marital therapy is, of course. It's talking to your partner and saying, here's how I'm feeling, rather than like, here's what's wrong with you.
Right.
You know, it's like, this is what's going on with me. I'm struggling because, you know, you and I have been interacting this way and I'm finding it difficult. It's hard to say, well, you're wrong for that. It's, you know, it kind of does begin a conversation.
Me statements instead of you statements, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Have you seen, Mike, and I'm sure you have, an increase in substance issues during this time?
Yeah, you know, all the kind of isms are coming out because that's how we can cope, you know, and of course being locked down, people were at home more, so there's been stories on, you know, how liquor sales are up and things like that. You know, so with anything, it's problematic when it becomes problematic. So if you're, you know, anything you do as a compensation can be okay in the short term, but just realize that you're doing that.
Right.
You know, same thing with workaholism. I love Maria Drost, but I tend not to use all my vacation time because it's like, well, I love my job and this needs to be done.
Right.
I've recently said, no, I'm taking 2 weeks off at Christmas, something I never do, and, you know, because that's good self-hygiene, you know, for, you know, emotional self-hygiene.
Yes. How? So, are you back in person now at Maria Drost for counseling sessions? You are.
Yeah, we came back in I think spring of this year, and you know, I was thinking, oh, everybody will be back in the summer, but you know, we're finding a lot of our clients, it works better for them to have it telehealth. You know, people that work 9 to 5. And they would struggle to get to Maria Drost for evening appointments. Now they're like, you know, that noon appointment telehealth, I can just go to another office or sit out in my car and talk to you there. So it feels like moving forward, there's going to be a hybrid of in-person along with telehealth. So I'm in the office right now on Mondays and Thursdays, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm from home because still a lot of people, clients want to have it be telehealth,
Sure.
and I think we're finding that, and we're comfortable with that. I mean, I've learned that you can do effective therapy through the telephone or with a video chat, and I, you know, formally I would have said, no, you've got to be in person.
Right.
You know, it has to be face to face. But you know, it's a learning for me that I and we have had many successful therapy conversations even over the phone.
Yeah, another little silver lining, perhaps.
Yeah.
Do you need more counselors? Do you need more help at Maria Drost?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we're, you know, especially as we, you know, the children are, my sister-in-law, who's a special ed teacher, she says, you know, she works with middle school age, and she was telling me that she feels the kids who are 7th graders, say, this year, are acting and behaving like 6th graders, like there's been a social,
They've
you know,
regressed.
at that age, yeah, they haven't advanced,
Yeah.
you know, because when you're together at
Yes,
that age,
yeah.
you're dealing with social milieu, but when people have been home for a year, so the kids are feeling it the most, and we've had more and more requests for child therapy, and you know, Maria Drost hasn't been able to answer that need because we don't have a bona fide full-time child therapist.
Okay.
So we actually are hiring somebody who's going to start in January, who's a licensed child therapist. And you know, to be honest, I could use 3 or 4 more, not only child therapists, but actually therapists.
Okay.
Because, you know, as I said, the phones are ringing like never before.
Yes. Yeah. Takes money.
It takes funds. Yeah.
At the holiday appeal is underway. You're striving for at least $80,000. I know, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We rely on our friends to help us out, because what Maria Drost does, few other places do, and I don't think anyone does it in the way we do it. You know, we basically ask people what they can afford,
Right.
and you know, a lot of our clients, you know, we charge them $10, $20 a session.
Doesn't pay the costs, certainly. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's why nobody does it, because
Right.
you can't survive that way, and we survive through the generosity of our benefactors
Yeah.
and donors and individuals who are not afraid to make a donation. So
Well,
we're very grateful.
And hopefully we got the word out for you a little bit here. I want to wish you and your family and staff a very happy, healthy holiday season, Mike.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure, as always. Just enough time to check the rest of the day's weather forecast for you. Look at that. Sunshine out there, mild temperatures in the mid-50s today. Things will change starting tomorrow, actually, with a mix of snow and rain, maybe a coating or so. Still unsettled on Sunday and really chilly here on Monday. Thanks again to Mike Shanahan for joining us from Maria Drost.
Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. Thanks to our crew. And thank you for watching Monday here in the program, The Captains of the Quincy Salvation Army. Till then, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a very nice weekend.